This afternoon session to everybody. I hope the lunch will not be too heavy and you will be awake enough to follow our session. As Mick said, I will start introducing shortly the gentlemen that are in this panel for the passenger session. So going in alphabetical order, I will start with Thomas Drexel, Home for Friends. He's Director of Rail for Amadeus, appointed by since a couple of months only, if I remember well. So he's fresh in Amadeus, but he has a long experience in the...
No, that's for the time being, that's true. That's for a couple of exceptions, it's not possible right now. But this is something which actually we and a couple of other, I don't want to call the GDSs ticket vendors, but actually GDSs are working on in order to integrate air and rail into the display there. Yeah, in order to make it comparable. And this is a big issue for the railways. This is also a big issue for the airlines, because once you have this air-rail interconnectivity, I think it could push the sales of both the railways and the airlines in the industry.
Will rail ever do so? And if yes, in how many years? And I would like to stress that e-ticketing is really a change of philosophy. It's not just taking an old usual ticket and putting some electronics on top, like this one. We'll start with Chris this time.
We, in Europe, and I guess actually across the world, we see a broad convergence of railway ticketing to a set of methods of fulfillment. But this depends on the sector that we're looking at. So in urban travel, the move almost universally is towards a smart card-based system, and increasingly to a non-ticketing smart card system, which means that the number of ticketing transactions per travel falls dramatically, as for example in London and other places like that. But for longer distance, the benefits of smart card ticketing are very difficult to identify because of questions of fulfillment, change of travel, things like that. And where cheaper tickets require advanced purchase, railways have not used transport smart cards, but they have used other technology, print-to-home ticketing, and increasingly pure e-ticketing in the same way as the airlines have done it with the if you like, the contract or the ticket held entirely in the back office.
Where, to go to the ITSO, facilitated Oyster system, which would roll out across England, has cost the government 60 million in software. The bus grant for each bus to operate the smart card system is about £800 a year. Now, this is a lot of money. But what I can't get back is the benefit for this. I've got the throughput through the turnstiles at the metro station is improved by doubling with a smart card as opposed to a paper ticket or whatever. So that's a good. Buses no longer are staying in queues so long.
Well, perhaps I can just give you a little summary from Britain when I was working at ATAR. I mean, essentially, from a commercial point of view, there is no business case for railways to implement smart cards. Certainly the experience we found. The consumer surplus aspects of it, in terms of reduced delayed queuing, all those kinds of things, then you can prove a case to some degree. So the purpose of the Prestige contract was not to introduce Oyster, but to replace the gates, replace the ticketing system, replace the telecommunications. And the Oyster bit was kind of a small part at the end of the contract.
It appears in the Euros, the CIRSRT. I will not read the explanation, it's too long. It's not really clear if it is a big central computer or it's a distributed computer system or it's just a philosophy. So I'm curious to understand how our analysts see this object that is very strange in European skies. We start with Brian this time.
system that gives information and enables to sell tickets. Russians would expect that it would give impartial information on all existing rail options that exist for a given journey, and that the passenger would also be able to buy the tickets to make this journey.
Yeah, this is my favorite question, obviously. I see it as a rail GDS, global distribution system as we know it from the airline industry. To be honest, I would be very happy if we see it as a EDS, as a European rail distribution system. I don't think that the worldwide approach is needed here. Still though, the problem is that the product is purely invisible to most of the travelers outside of their home countries. There are only few exceptions with air-rail comparisons where you can compare, do I go on by air or is it better to go on by rail? For example, I mean, I was working my colleagues they're getting annoyed now because I'm telling this story for the last 8 weeks, but I was working for Deutsche Bahn for the last 9 years, so I never had to buy a ticket, obviously. When I came to Amadeus, I had a meeting in Lille with this gentleman here. Hi. And then I asked the travel agency, please book me a train from Frankfurt to Lille, because I know there is a train and okay, you have to wait in Brussels, but whatever. You know what happened to me? I ended up in a plane with Air France to Charles de Gaulle, and